I'm Melody for Youterus by 21Ninety, and this is my hysterectomy story. So why did I need a hysterectomy? Truth be told, my menstrual cycles were crazy because I had dozens of uterine fibroids. Also, I would say that my stomach, especially in the last 18 months, seemed like it was really, really big. I actually looked like I was pregnant because of the size of the fibroids. And I was fatigued all the time because of the heavy menstrual cycles. I was actually anemic. So I had an iron deficiency because of the fibroids that I had essentially since I was like 25 years old. So you're talking about over 15 years dealing with fibroids. Before my hysterectomy, I had several myomectomies, which are procedures to remove uterine fibroids in my uterus. I had those laparoscopically. I had the surgeries probably during a period of like 3 or 4 years before I had my daughter, who is now 5. I had my daughter in 2018 after 2 failed IVFs and 1 failed IUI. We got pregnant the old school way. I found my support system through my mother-in-law and other friends and family and cousins who've had the hysterectomy. So after talking to my gynecologist, she said, you know, if you're not gonna have any more kids, get your quality of life where it needs to be and have your uterus removed and have this hysterectomy.
It is just about 4:45 in the morning. My procedure is actually at 7:30 on a Wednesday morning, but you have to be there 2 hours before. But thank goodness the hospital literally is right up the street. It's in my community. So last night was a little, I wouldn't say rough, but I was anxious about the procedure. So I didn't really go to sleep until about 3 o'clock, and then went into one of those deep sleeps. Taste it. It's not bad. It tastes like strawberries and cream, kind of like flavored water.
Cut it out, it's still dark out.
All right, guys, getting ready to go to the hospital. It's just before 5:30. So because it's so early in the morning, we're actually checking in through the emergency room. I feel pretty okay. Right now I have my pain medicine in, my IV. The hardest part was actually them finding a place to put the IV. You can see it's right now in my right, kind of like back of my elbow, but they tried it here. And then actually my pre-op, they tried it because your girl struggles with finding veins, but I feel pretty good.
So generally speaking, there are 3 types of hysterectomies. First is a vaginal hysterectomy, which is exactly what it sounds like. It removes the uterus through the vagina. Next is laparoscopic hysterectomy. Similar to what I had mentioned about having a myomectomy, this removes the uterus by putting small incisions in your abdomen. But for me, because of the size of my uterus, it was the size of a cantaloupe, when again, that normal size of a uterus is the size of a pear or orange, I needed to have a abdominal hysterectomy. And that's a hysterectomy that basically removes the uterus by making an incision in your bikini line area, or in my case, my C-section area.
Still feeling a little loopy, but overall feeling okay. Definitely my abdomen area feel almost like a dull ache, but nothing where it's excruciating pain. They also have my, I guess you call it a medical waist trainer, so to speak. Just have that on. The team had planned for the surgery to take 3 hours, because I've had previous myomectomies, so they didn't know if there was scar tissue from previous surgeries to remove fibroids. There was not, so had planned for 3 hours of surgery, but thank goodness they were able to get it done in 90 minutes.
The first week of recovery, I was on bed rest, so I needed to rest, not do much of anything. Although I will say bed rest and bedridden are different. My doctor did encourage me to get up about every hour, every 2 hours, just to walk around slowly, whether it was just in my bedroom, around the house. Got to a point where I was comfortable to do kind of a block with my dog. Okay, so when it comes to diet post-hysterectomy, so for me, I wasn't on a liquid diet or anything. Even my first 2 days in the hospital immediately after surgery, I had a normal breakfast, though I didn't eat a lot, but I had, the standard eggs and sausage and potatoes. But I will say what was interesting, right after surgery, I had the craziest sweet tooth. All I wanted was like cookies, cakes, and pies.
I don't know if it's a hysterectomy thing, a me thing, but like my sugar cravings, like all I'm craving right now are sugars and like dessert. So let me show you. Like I can't even show y'all the banana cake that they just brought me because I devoured it. Like it's all gone. Like literally when they say no crumbs left, none. So look at this, like nothing. It is exactly 1 week since my procedure. I'm still very, very bloated, though I'm up and about, walking around, also resting, but making sure I'm getting up to walk around, get the circulation going. The pain still in my lower abdomen, in my C-section area where they actually removed my uterus, is still sore. I will say though, like the worst pain is actually when I laugh or cough or sneeze. It's ridiculous. Like, it feels like literally my stomach is ripping from my body when I do those 3 things.
Immediately after my hysterectomy, while in the hospital, I was definitely on all the good stuff, the narcotics. After I returned home, I still remained on narcotics for about a week, and then after that, I interchanged between ibuprofen and something like a Tylenol. I also, to help with the regulation of my bowel movements, used things like Gas-X and Miralax just to make sure that everything was moving from that end. I'm at a stoplight right now, so wanted to show you that I'm outside. I'm driving again. About 10 days post-surgery, I'm able to drive because I'm off of the heavy stuff, the narcotic medicine. I will say though, it takes me a minute to get in and out of the car, only because I think partially I'm just like nursing or bracing for pain. And I do have pain. I really am having a little bit of cabin fever if I'm going to the grocery store, but just picking up little light odds and ends and honestly just trying to walk around a bit. I will say the advice my doctor gave me, which really is mandatory, not advice, is don't lift anything larger than a gallon of milk. That's in general, whether you're grocery shopping or not. So making sure I'm not doing any heavy lifting, any dramatic bending or reaching, but feeling good post-surgery, taking it one day at a time, and your girl is outside. She's behind the wheel of a car. What no one really tells you about a hysterectomy. So first and foremost, obviously your uterus is being removed. So one of the things that people were saying is oh girl, you're not gonna have a period anymore. One of the things also, which was a misconception on my part, I thought I was gonna automatically go into menopause because no more menstrual cycle, so boom, menopause and hot flashes and all that's gonna start right away. That's not the case because in my case, my ovaries are still here, so my physician didn't have to remove my ovaries. And because of that, as she told me, pretty much my menopause journey is gonna start normally the way it would. Because there will be moments where I would say, even for me, maybe a week, 2 weeks after surgery, I was like, okay, I'm feeling pretty okay, and I was starting to do stuff, and then immediately my body was like, no, relax. The other thing that was interesting that I guess I should have realized but did not, no more pap smears, because a pap smear literally looks at your cervix, and because my uterus, the cervix which is attached to my uterus, was removed, I'm not gonna have pap smears anymore. So what does my quality of life look like 6 to 8 weeks after surgery? I'm feeling good. My waist is smaller, my stomach's going down, and I have energy like I've never had before. Okay, so I am 2 months post-surgery, and so one of the things I did want to talk about, which I'm sure there are questions about, is intimacy, sex life, right? What is intimacy like after a hysterectomy? For me, there were no negative changes whatsoever. After surgery, my gynecologist did tell me no sex for 6 weeks, basically nothing in your vagina for 6 weeks. But after that, things pretty much returned to normal. There were no negative changes. I think because as women, right, or people in general, so much of our sexuality, sensuality is tied to our organs, and with the hysterectomy, you have a major part of that removed. So even for me, I was wondering what that new part of my life, which I thought was going to be a new part of my life, be like, and I'm happy to say that there was no impact whatsoever with that. Take time to heal and take time to love yourself, because it's going to be so much worth it in the end. So I'm feeling healthier, I'm feeling more energized, and I have to be honest, you know, those folks in my life, my aunts, my mother-in-law, who said that my quality of life was going to get so much better, they're absolutely right, because I'm feeling really good. I'm Melody for Youterus by 21Ninety, and this is my hysterectomy journey.